Look at this painting. No fire, no screaming, no claws extended toward a cowering soul. Just a figure, seated still and watching you from inside a darkness so complete, it feels less like a background and more like a substance. Franz von Stuck painted this in 1890, and he called it simply Lucifer. And the first thing you need to understand is what he chose not to paint, because every artist before him who dared to depict the devil reached for spectacle, flames, wings spread wide in defiance, the drama of the fall. Von Stuck stripped all of it away. What remained was something far harder to dismiss. A man thinking, there is a question art historians have circled for over a century without fully answering. Why did Franz von Stuck, one of the most technically gifted painters of his generation, look at the figure of Lucifer and decide the most terrifying thing he could show you was not rage but intelligence? We'll get there. But first, you need to know where this painting came from. Munich, 1890. The city is at the height of its cultural ambition. A new generation of German artists, fed up with the rigid classicism of the academies, is forming a movement. They called themselves the Munich Secession, and Franz von Stuck was among their founding members. Their project was not simply aesthetic, it was almost theological. They believed that art had lost contact with the hidden forces driving human experience, with desire, with shadow, with the parts of consciousness that polite society preferred to pretend did not exist. Von Stuck was 26 when he painted Lucifer, and he was already obsessed, not with darkness for its own sake, but with a specific question that would consume him for decades. What does pride look like from the inside? Not pride as a posture, not pride as defiance, pride as a condition, quiet, self-sustaining, and utterly immune to correction. Lucifer, in Western theology, did not fall because he raged against God. He fell because he believed he deserved God's throne. The sin was not violence, it was certainty, and von Stuck understood, in a way that almost no artist before him had. That certainty looks nothing like a monster. It looks like a man who has made his decision and is at peace with it. Look at the posture, chin resting on the hand, weight forward slightly. This is not the posture of a ruler displaying power. This is the posture of a scholar who has finished reading and set the book down. In art history, this specific pose has a name, melancholia, and it comes from a tradition stretching back to Dürer, used to depict figures consumed by thought so intense it has become its own kind of prison. Von Stuck put Lucifer in that pose deliberately. He is not threatening, he is not performing, he is reflecting. And that is when you need to ask yourself, what is he reflecting on? And then there are the wings. Most depictions of Lucifer give the wings grandeur, width. They are the visual language of angelic origin, evidence of what he was before the fall. Von Stuck's wings are almost invisible. They emerge from shadow, dark against dark, and they do not spread. They rest, or rather, they hang, not folded in ceremony, folded the way exhausted things fold. Why? I'll return to that, but first, the eyes. They glow. That much is obvious. What is less obvious is the quality of the light. It is not warm. It is not golden. It is a cold, almost chemical luminescence, the kind of light that reveals without illuminating. And this is where von Stuck did something that borders on theological provocation. Lucifer, in Latin, means light bringer. It is the name given to the morning star, to the figure whose defining characteristic before the fall was that he carried radiance. He was the most brilliant of the angels, the most perceptive, the one who could see things others could not. Von Stuck kept the light, but he corrupted it. What you see in those eyes is not warmth, not guidance. What you see is a light turned entirely inward, consciousness so acute it has become a kind of torment, intelligence that cannot be unknowing, perception that cannot be undone. If you have ever had a thought you desperately wished you could take back, a moment of clarity about yourself that you would have preferred to remain blind to, then you already understand what von Stuck painted in those eyes. This brings us to the question I opened with. Why did he refuse to paint a monster? Because a monster is external. A monster is something you can close the door against. What von Stuck was depicting was not external at all. The torment of Lucifer in this painting comes from no wound inflicted by God. There is no divine punishment visible, no chains, no fire. The suffering, if that is even the right word, is entirely self-generated. He chose this, and he would choose it again. That is the specific horror von Stuck was encoding. Now return to the wings. He painted this same figure at least 4 times across his career. Each version slightly different, different angles, different light, different years of the artist's life. And in each version, the wings remain suppressed, minimal, almost apologetic. The art historian Wolfgang Hartmann noted that in the tradition of fallen angel iconography, wings are always one of 2 things, triumphant or destroyed. Von Stuck chose neither. His wings are intact, but they are inert. They no longer function as wings. They have become vestigial, like remnants of a capacity that the figure has simply lost the will to use. He could leave. He does not. And that, in Von Stuck's reading, is what damnation actually is. Not a locked door, a door you stop wanting to open. He returned to Lucifer 4 times because he could not finish the thought. Each painting was another attempt to answer something the previous version left open. What does it feel like to be that aware and that still? What does it feel like to have made the definitive choice and to sit now inside its consequences with nowhere to direct your intelligence except inward? Von Stuck never answered it. I am not sure the question has an answer. Here is what the painting actually does to you if you let it. The darkness surrounding the figure is not painted as shadow. It has weight, presence. You are not looking at a man in front of a dark background. You are looking at a figure that may be generating that darkness or dissolving into it. Von Stuck never clarifies which, and the symbolist tradition he was working in considered that ambiguity to be the point. The external world and the internal state are the same thing. What Lucifer is surrounded by is what Lucifer is made of. And now, the piece of this painting that most people miss. You have been looking at it for several minutes now. Think about whether the figure feels foreign to you. Think about whether the posture, that particular posture of exhausted intelligence, feels like something you have seen before. Not in a painting, in a mirror, in a moment when you caught yourself thinking something you were not proud of and could not stop thinking. In a moment of certainty that everyone around you was wrong and you alone could see clearly. In a moment of choosing, consciously, deliberately, the version of yourself that serves pride over the version that might be correctable. Von Stuck did not paint a monster. He painted a psychological state. And the reason this canvas has disturbed viewers for over 100 years is not because Lucifer is alien. It is because he is not. If this painting has unsettled you, good. That means it worked. I will leave you with the question that Von Stuck apparently could not stop asking himself. The question he returned to 4 times and never resolved. Is it possible to recognize something as darkness and choose it anyway? Not out of ignorance, not out of pain, but simply because the alternative requires a humility you are not willing to perform. Lucifer knows the answer. And so, if you are honest with yourself,